welcome back to the summit. Still with us, Tim Fullerton, Dan Perry, and Jobob. Thank you, gentlemen, very much for staying with us. We're also staying on topic, but before we dive back into the conversation, both Obama and Biden tried many times, similarly to many others, to tighten gun control. All attempts failed. Let's take a listen to the president, perhaps launching another push.
Our hearts are with the people of California. They've been a rough couple days. I just got back from spending time with Gavin Newsom on the floods and the devastation that occurred, and then on top of that, we see what's happened in California and what's happened to the Asian American community. It's been devastating. The vice president's going to be going out. I've been talking with Gavin Newsom and Judy Chu and Anna Eshoo and Hilda Solis, and we're working out a number of things that we can and are going to be doing. So the bottom line here is that we got a lot to talk about. And yesterday, my buddy Dianne Feinstein introduced her Senate assault weapons ban. I am asking you all to send that to my desk as quickly as you can.
So let's get to it, gentlemen. Another quick fire round, 30 seconds each. Is the fight for gun control futile? Jobob, take the lead.
It seems like it, because I think in the grand scheme of things, the fight for the implementation of any gun control would be futile. I'd like to have that sort of discussion. Is okay, say you get these grandiose gun control laws passed, how are you going to enforce any of them? But of course, we'll discuss after.
Tim Fullerton, your take?
Well, the reality is that the majority of Americans want stronger gun laws. There's roughly 92%, according to a Quinnipiac poll, that has said that Americans want universal background checks. I think most people don't even realize that there are thousands of private sales per year that are done, and there is no background check. And we need to close that. I think people want it done. I think there are some Republicans that want it done. It won't happen at the federal level. The states will continue to enact their laws as well.
Last but not least, Dan Perry.
I'm frequently amused by the acquiescence of so many people to crazy, stupid things, frankly. A majority in America wants
Tell us what you really
control.
think, Dan Perry.
A majority in America wants tighter gun control, but they are stymied by a minority that is very determined and votes on this issue, and of course a well-funded lobby. When the majority starts to do the same, we will see a flip. And so, no, I don't think the fight is futile at all.
Okay, and let's feel free to engage from this point onwards. And you've mentioned a different, let's call it ways to tackle the issue. I do want to go through some ideas here. Red flag laws, is this the farthest anti-gun law we can get? An interesting one offered by a Democratic senator from Memphis, suggesting treating gun control, or gun violence rather, as a public health crisis. And of course the issue of arming teachers. Does any of it make sense at all? Tim?
There's a wide range on that one. So on red flag laws, absolutely. And I think that was actually something that Congress did pass, and President Biden signed into law last year, which was some additional funding to encourage states to enact these laws, which basically allows a family member or the police to petition a judge to take someone's guns away from them if they are deemed dangerous. There are laws like this in several states across the country. They save lives. Arming teachers is probably the most preposterous idea that has been put forward, and mostly from the NRA lobby, which is, let's give kindergartners and first grade teachers loaded guns in their classrooms. Like the reality is you're going to end up with more gun deaths that way, accidental gun deaths, than you would ever save anything. So there's a wide range of issues that we can do. Some of them are very sensible that most Americans agree on. Others are really just distractions from having us actually focus on creating stronger gun laws.
Yeah. I have to say, on this issue, as in many issues involving American politics, we tend to slightly overthink. You mentioned a whole array of possible solutions, and some are preposterous, and some would be a good idea. But fundamentally, punishment for carrying an illegal weapon can go very far.
But is it like immigration, the debate around between legal and illegal weapons, or is it the issue of weapons, period?
If being caught with an unlicensed weapon resulted in being thrown into jail for 20 years, you would find that their number diminishing. That is what happens in every other country that wants to control guns. The idea that some kind of new supernatural reality in America where this requires tremendously complex philosophy is, I think, largely fictitious. And look, the issue of depending on states to fix the problem, and so some blue states will have a semi-normal reality, is problematic in America because you can easily carry weapons across state lines.
Well, in the spirit of the post-Roe era, maybe this is the way, this is the direction America is going. Each state on its own, on abortion, on guns. Jobob?
Well, can I say this? Diminishing it down to a simplistic form seems a little bit ridiculous, considering just the flat-out geography of the country and the geography of the states. I live in California, which is a massively expansive state, and people live in downtown Los Angeles that have access to more immediate police that can come protect them from whatever is going on in their area is vastly different from the neck of the woods that I live in the same state. So to say that it's this simplistic thing.
No.
I
How about this?
But to say
the
it's
overcomplication.
as simple as like, well, you do this and this. It's like, no, it's not.
So allow me to clarify.
Jobob,
we got the point. I'm trying to clarify. I'm not saying ban guns everywhere. I'm saying do it intelligently and only allow them where it's necessary and the person has been licensed. Of course, there's differences between Tulsa and New York. There's also differences between different parts of California and, indeed, different parts of Oklahoma. And every country has these differences. Australia has Sydney, analogous to New York, and it has the Outback. And that's the way it goes. And somehow they figured this out. Americans cannot figure this out. It really is laughable and a little bit pitiful.
Well, I would argue that the Republicans and the NRA cannot figure this out. The majority of Americans support comprehensive gun laws. We want background checks on all gun sales. We have not had a struggle getting that through due to Republicans and NRA money. Like I said, not all background checks or not all gun sales have a background check. There's also a law, or there's a loophole called the Charleston loophole, which if someone has a flag in their background check, it's not a red, it's not a green. If they have a flag.
This
hold
is
on a second.
Fine, but how do you police any of this? How do you do
with
that?
With the background check system, because first of all,
so if I sell a gun to my neighbor, how do you police the fact that I do the gun check?
You haven't even heard what I'm going to say. So hold on a second. So what I'm saying is if there's a flag, thank you. If there's a flag in your background check, if the FBI does not do the investigation within 72 hours, that gun sale goes through. There are between 5,000 and 6,500 guns every year that are taken back because after a background check is taken and they realized after the 72-hour period, they have to go get the guns because those people are so dangerous. Why can't we close that?
What's a flag?
What's a flag? Possession, domestic violence. A lot of the NICS, the background check system that we've got, it's a voluntary system, so states are slow to put their data in, so they don't get everything. Here's a flag. The Charleston shooter, the white supremacist who killed those innocent people in the church, he was a prohibited purchaser. But there was a mess up with the data going in because he had a drug charge on him. He never went there. They never caught it, and he killed 10 people. So you have that. You close that. There's 10 people back right there alone.
Jobob, we're nearing the end of our discussion. Is there a middle ground here at all?
I would love for a middle ground to be Americans should be more educated on firearms. We have a huge misunderstanding of how firearms are used, how they work. There's a Vice News reporter that put an unfired, I forget what caliber round into a fence and said, look at how damaging these communities are. There's clearly a lack of understanding and education revolving around firearms.
Do you honestly really think that the massacre happened because the shooter didn't know how to use a weapon? He rather clearly knew how to use a weapon.
No, hold on. Don't put words in my mouth. That's not the case that I'm making. I'm talking about the fact that you have a populace that's entirely unaware of how guns work, and those are the people trying to legislate the firearms in this country. That's what I'm saying.
And if more people knew how guns work, how would that fix the problem?
If more people were aware of guns, maybe you would have more guns in more different places with people educated and trained to use them. And if you have more good guys with guns, and then you can stop more bad guys with guns.
More guns, more violence, more violence. Needing more guns. Gentlemen, it has been an utter pleasure listening to you. Hopefully we'll see you again on the show. Team Fullerton, Jobob, and Dan Perry, thank you very much for your time and insight. It has truly been a pleasure.